Fishing with Johnny Johnson has been brought to you by Hatch Toyota, generations moving forward.
Let's see if we can get him right here. We got a nice little largemouth down here on a bed. Oh man, he grabbed the tail of it right there. Let's throw it back in there real quick. This fish is caught, he just don't know it yet. Oh, do you see how fast he goes out there and spits it out? Oh, that is sad, sad. I love this kind of fishing. One thing nice about sight fishing is you do get room for mistakes. Got him right there. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, not a giant, but a fun Saguaro Lake bass. Oh my goodness. Come on, buddy. Come on. That was fun. That was fun. All right. Hopefully you're the little one of the bunch today. You know, I like to throw my white lures. Today, a little something different for me. What I'm throwing is a rage tail. And it's a rage tail craw. Now, believe this or not, they come out in a coffee scent, which is really awesome for guys like me that like to drink coffee. But I don't know how well it does for the fish, but I'll tell you this much. These rage tail, out of all the things that I've been able to throw on a bed to get hit quick on, you know, I've recently, well, I've done it for a long time, but I've gone to, you know, using a little short tail grub with a real thin tail on it. So when it's down there, you can barely twitch it and that tail moves. And it's about action when you're on these beds, you know, and just anything that looks like it's swimming or anything like that, just sitting there and you can twitch it a little bit and it moves. That's what those fish are keying on and they're hitting. And that's what I love about this rage tail craw. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about the actual rig that we're using and the setup. So what I've got here is a basic bobber stopper that we put on the line, and that's to hold the weight down. So when you're fishing these deep beds, the actual lure and everything falls together, and the weight doesn't sink way down here and the lure stays way up here floating, you know, if you're using a floating type bait. So a lot of baits that I like to throw, say in the nest, have a little floating pinchers or something, so I like it to sink straight down. So I like that little bobber stop right there. Okay, then I use a 3/8 ounce tungsten bullet weight. Then I'm going to use a bead, and the reason why I'm using the bead is because when I'm in the bed and I just want to sit there and shake it a little bit, you know, the rattle that we get between the bead and the sinker really work great, like a little noise rattle, because if the fish kind of moves off and he's looking away, it's a cat and mouse game with these fish. So when the fish is kind of moving off and looking away, I shake it a little bit in the bed and he turns around because he can hear something in his bed. So that's why I like that rattle piece, okay? And then I'm using a little 2/0 offset shank Gamakatsu hook. And then of course the craw that we're throwing today, which is that rage tail. And I'll tell you what, it's becoming fast one of my favorite baits, because the company that I was getting my other baits from, that I had the orange pinchers and floating craws that I used to get for years, quit making them. So going to something new, it's always fun to use stuff new, and I can see this real good anyways. And you want to use some bait you can see for sure to watch that bait take off, because these fish will actually take this bait, run it out just for a second, spit it out before you even know it. So you have to be able to see the bait. And that's why we use these light colored baits this time of year, so we can see them. It's not a natural color, but by golly, it works good. Because this time of year, these fish aren't in a feed mode. What these fish are doing is getting anything that comes in off the nest out of there. Okay, so anything that comes on the nest, they're gonna get it out of there. I gotta hit the sweet spot. Smell the coffee brewing this morning. Oh, I had him. Smell that coffee brewing. You know, a lot of these fish in here have just been hammered, you know, by a lot of fishermen, but they're so fun to catch. And the fun part is trying to figure out how to get him to bite again. He was in the mood for a little coffee. Oh, we lost him, but he was just a little one. That's what happens when you try to bring him out. He was just a little one, though, to play with. We're gonna go hunt some big ones down here. See if we can't catch them. You'll find that a lot of these fish just have a different kind of attitude, too. You know, you'll move up and these fish just act like they don't want nothing, and you'll move to another nest and boom, he's really hot and really on the bed and wants to fire on it, you know. And every fish has got a different temperament for sure, and you got to play around with them until you figure it out. It depends on how much time you want to spend with them. My right hand was going numb on me all the time. I really thought this was career ending for me. Then I found Dr. Michael Fitzmaurice. He looked at my hand, walked me through step by step of what was happening and what he needed to do. Minimal invasive hand surgery and instant relief. I was back to fishing in a week. Carpal tunnel and tennis elbow is no fun. I highly recommend Fitzmaurice Hand Institute. Call for your appointment today at Fitzmaurice Hand Institute. You don't have to live with the pain.
Call toll-free 855-480-HAND or visit fitzhand.com.
I think the little male went out there after it. There's a male and a female in a nest right here. And I get asked a lot of the questions, a lot of the time, I get asked a lot about what do I do about these fish when they're actually on the nest and they're rubbing. If they're rubbing, just go to the next nest. But if the female's just sitting in there with the male, you'll have a shot at hitting one. Trying to get the female interested in hitting here. Male's whacking at it pretty good. She'll eventually get aggravated here. Got her. I got the big one. Oh yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about. Good old sight fish bass. Come on, baby. Threw that lure up in there and just shook it at her. That's what I'm talking about, folks. Look at the size of that Saguaro Lake bass. Easy does it, baby. Easy does it. We got to get you up here because I don't have her hooked very well, I don't think. Come on. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at that. 5-pounder, baby. Now that's a beautiful, beautiful fish. Let's get her back in. You know, the key to catching that fish, that was fun. We actually left that fish, came back, and caught her. What had happened was we got a little too close earlier, and the wind wasn't quite right, the sun wasn't quite right, and a lot of times you find yourself when you're doing this kind of fishing, you know, sometimes you have to leave the bed and come back, and it's just being patient. You have to have patience doing this kind of fishing. And I left the male on the nest. I had caught the male earlier, and you know, a lot of folks like to catch him off the nest and hope the female moves up, but you don't have that much time when you do that. And a lot of times, if you catch the male, he goes back in there. He's a little timid, but he doesn't like seeing it there. And if she stays on the nest, she'll hit the lure. And that's exactly what happened. I brought it in, made the perfect cast, shook it up in there a little bit. I'll tell you what, the way this crawl works in the water is incredible. The actual pinchers just really, really, look how you barely move it, and look how they just go. Look at that. I got a fish. Did you see a fish come up and look at it? That's the deal, this bait is just incredible, and that's what you're looking for, is that little bit of wave action. You know, just that little bit of wave action. That's what you're looking for. There's that fish. I'll see if it's on a bed. If it's that interested, maybe we can catch it. But those are the kind of fish that you're looking for, is those females. That's how you win tournaments, is off those big females like that. It's hard to win them on males, But you can definitely do it on the big females. You know, their temperament will also be different throughout the afternoon, throughout the day. You know, you might get up in there and they might be a little skittish, a little spooky first thing. You know, maybe something didn't go right, you spooked the fish. And when the sunlight comes up a little bit where you can see really good and make the long cast, that's the key, is making these long casts. You don't want to be right on top of the fish. Being right on top of the fish is not good.
Have you been accused of a crime or charged with a DUI or criminal case? Call Suzuki Law Offices today and speak to me. As a former Assistant United States Attorney and a former Deputy Maricopa County Attorney, I understand criminal cases, and I understand how to best defend you. My staff, my investigators, and attorneys are here to fight for you. We're successful, aggressive, experienced attorneys. Call Suzuki Law Offices today and see the difference.
All right, we're going to that doggone big lizard. That's a big fish. Maybe he'll go after that, she'll go after that big lizard. Got her. Big old fish too. Oh my goodness. It's trying to get me in the reeds. That's why you use the big stuff on the big ones. Look at that fish. It's a giant. It's a monster. Oh, I barely got her hooked too. Come on, baby. Oh, I barely got her hooked in the side. Come on. Oh my goodness, look at that fish, folks. That's what I'm talking about. Oh my goodness, look at the size of that brute. That's what I'm talking about. Huh? Oh my gosh, that's a monster bass. Oh, I had to pull the big old lizard out on that one. Look at the size of her. Okay, come on. All right, thank you, baby. Look at that. Look how big that fish is. Oh my goodness. All right, come on. See you, baby. That's a big old lizard fish. I'm telling you right there, baby. That was a monster bass. That fish was every bit 8 to 10 pounds there. That was a huge monster fish. And I'll tell you what, when you come across big fish like that on a bed, sometimes you got to lay down the light tackle and pull out the heavy gear. You know, your 17, 20 pound test line, the big 6-inch lizard. You know, it's just it's an awesome deal. I love this. I'm rigging it the same way I rigged the craw. You know, we're using a little bit bigger hook, bobber stop, 3/8 ounce sinker, and a little bead. The deal is, anytime I come across the big fish sitting on a bed like that, I like to pull out the big tackle because they'll eat these big baits. But it took a while for us to get her coerced to hit, but oh my goodness, that was just a giant of a fish. Saguaro Lake has some big bass in it, man. I'm telling you, what a blast this is, fishing on this lake this time of year. Gotta let them go. Gotta let them have some fun. But you definitely want to pull out the big tackle when you get around. If you notice, she tried hitting right for the reeds. That's where they'll bust you off on that light tackle. You got to kind of know when to throw the light tackle and when not, you know. And that was a time. And if you notice the breeze blowing just a little bit on the water, that ripple helped camouflage us. It's a nightmare to try to sight fish with a little ripple. I don't like it any more than anybody else does. But on the other hand, if you can see the fish well enough, you know, all you have to do is be able to see your bait. it ain't about watching them inhale everything. You just watch your bait start taking off, and that's what I did. And boy, that was just a monster of a fish. Oh my goodness. Now that makes a worthwhile coming out to the lake today. We've caught 2 beautiful fish today, and we're catching some smaller ones too, but man, you just can't deny the size of the fish in Saguaro Lake. I know they had a little bit of a fish kill some years back, but this lake is back. This is just a gorgeous lake, and like I said, it's there. You know, that fish was in probably 3 feet of water. You know, that made it a lot easier to see with a little bit of breeze that we have. So that helped us a bunch. But that's the kind of bass that you'll catch this time of year. And when they're up and everything's perfect, even on Roosevelt, even on Lake Pleasant, you know, you're looking at a 20, 27 pound bag when you start catching the fish we're catching, you know. And it's just a matter of going down the lake and finding them. But it's a lot of fun. It really is a lot of fun. Oh my goodness, what a monster of a fish. All right, we'll move on. I love it. Oh my goodness. Now that's what I came for right there, baby. Ah, I love this lake. How can you not love this lake?
How's it going, guys? Fishing's tough.
Let's try another lure. Toyota Tundras eat these up. Oh man, that's a good one.
More American-made than the Chevy Silverado or the Ford F-150, the Toyota Tundra.
Out of all the Toyota Tundras on the lot, it had to be mine.
Looks like it's time for you to go fishing, bud. Oh, here, try some scent.
Oh boy.
Got him that time. I just watched my lure move. Just a little male. Fun fish though. You gotta stop and pop a few of these once in a while too. Oh, he's gone. He took my lure and everything, that dude. Well, I'll just have to tie a new one on. That little dude. He barreled down on it, but I don't think he got it. He got it that time, by golly. Oh yeah! Oh, dance. Get us wet. Come on, you're done. You're done. Got you up perfect. Oh, looky there. Another nice, beautiful 2.5, 2¼ pound bass right there. Beautiful fish. Boy, they're pretty and they're mean. I love it. See you, buddy. Hey folks, for my tip of the week, one thing that's real important when you're bed fishing, that you can get some good strikes out of a fish, if they're not interested by you just throwing out there and kind of pulling it through, see if you can keep the bait right there and just give it some little shakes just like that. It gets them flared up, just like a cat going after a spider or something. You just kind of shake it right there, and usually they'll just demolish it. You'll be going, man, they're awful lazy, and then all of a sudden you start shaking that thing right there, and they'll just barrel right on it and grab it. But that'll help you get a lot more strikes to get those fish. Got him. Nice fish. Oh, yeah. Oh, about a 2.5 right there on my, he needed a little afternoon coffee. Coffee flavored crawdads now. What in the world? All right, buddy, you're done. That's a nice one. Come on. Ow! Looky there, folks. I caught him off that rock. There's a big rock out there, and that's one thing you have to watch for a lot of times in some of these areas. These fish will find rocks to bed on. Last year I caught a big fish, an 8-pounder off a rock that everybody kept going by and didn't look. Beautiful fish. Big old healthy fish. You know, that's the thing. You got to grab some bobber stops. Grab yourself some 3/8 ounce tungsten sinkers, bullet weights, and of course some glass beads, and some nice hooks. You know, the offset shank, good looking hooks, made by Gamakatsu. And of course, today I'm throwing that lizard. We threw that on one of the big fish, of course, and we threw it around a little bit, caught some fish on it, and then that little rage crawl right there. That's a ticket, and you can see it real good too. That kind of stuff this time of year really helps you out, and it's got great action. Thanks for joining us at Saguaro Lake, folks. We'll see you next time on the water. I'm Johnny Johnson. That's what I'm talking about.